All right, everybody, welcome to the Waiver Wire. It's June 16th, 10:32 in the morning. This is like one of our first podcasts previewing the 2019 Steelers. I'm joined once again with my dad here. He's over there in Clackenheim and Clackamas. How you doing, Dad?
Good.
Good.
Happy Father's Day, everybody.
Happy Father's Day. So I kind of wanted to start this podcast out with like a little buy or sell. So I just wanted to bounce a couple questions off you. You can tell me if you're into it or if you're not into it. So does that sound good to you?
Sure.
All right. So Ben will throw less picks since Antonio Brown is now off the team.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I think Ben always felt the pressure to get Antonio Brown the ball, try to force it in there. So I think definitely Ben will have less picks with Antonio Brown gone. I think there'll be a lot better ball distribution.
Mm-hmm. I think we saw last game, the first game we played against Cleveland, our opening game or whatever. I remember watching that game and being like, damn, he's like really trying to force the ball into AB, and we felt like that before as well. But that's just one moment where I was like, geez, man, like quit, like you're trying to force it into such a small window.
Right. And AB really looks at targets. He wants to be targeted a lot. So he's said several times, that he's worried about how many times he gets the ball thrown to him. So I think Ben just feels a little bit of pressure to get it to AB in certain situations. And I don't know if he's bitching in the huddle about it or what, or we've seen Antonio throw little fits here and there, and no one kind of really knew what was going on. But definitely, I think Ben feels like he's got to get him the ball, which rightfully so. He's a good player, but you got to pick your spots.
Yeah. My next one would be the Steelers are going to make the postseason next year.
Oh yeah, I think this is going to be one of our better years we've had. Definitely, we're going to end this decade with a bang here.
Yeah. My third one, I have 8 of them total. My third one's Ben will throw for over 5,000 yards once again.
I don't think so. I think we'll be a little more balanced. We got some good running backs, so I think we're going to get the running game going, and I think also we're going to be having some pretty good leads on people, so I think, we'll be running the ball, running the clock out. So I think we're going to get more into a balanced offense attack.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think he's going to throw for over like 4,500 or anything like that. I definitely think it's going to be a little more balanced this time around.
Yeah.
So my fourth one is Pittsburgh's going to win the AFC North.
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh will win the AFC North. It's a lot harder than what it used to be. The teams are definitely straightening up. So, but yeah, I think we're going to finish, 12-4, possibly 11-5, somewhere in there. That's where I think we'll be, and I think we'll win the North.
Yeah, I think Cleveland is obviously our biggest competition. I also think you can't sleep on Baltimore either, because they're pretty solid as well. It seems like every year they have a different running back that just destroys us. So, I mean, I think Pittsburgh will win the AFC North, but it's just going to be tough. This is going to be a tough year.
The thing that's weird about the North is it doesn't really matter the talent level. It seems like all the games are always close no matter what. All the teams know each other, just like any division, the divisional games are really, really tough. Even if there's less talent on a team, they show up to play.
It's like the AFC West almost, I feel like, with teams like Denver who are kind of the middle of the pack, but they always step up and play when it's like their division, or even like us last year, but we kind of suck playing. We play down to our competition, but we'll get into that later. My next one I thought is number 5. The Steelers will end the regular season with more than 13 interceptions. Our defense.
A tough one. That's a high number. How many did we have last year?
I have it in here somewhere. I think we had 8 last year. We had 8 last year.
8, yeah. I want to say over, of course. I hope our secondary, which I think has a lot of depth. I'm interested to see how the talent will unfold once they start playing, and where everybody's going to rank, and who's going to start, who's going to be in the nickel package. So I'll say I think we hit right around 13. I think we can get 5 more than what we did last year.
Yeah, I think we're going over. Honestly, I feel pretty confident about it because. Like, we brought in Steven Nelson to play on the other side of Joe Hayden. He had 4 picks last year for the Chiefs. You know what I mean? I feel like our secondary is going to be better. Terrell Edmonds is playing better. Bringing in Devin Bush a little bit. Vince Williams isn't getting picks. He's not jumping. We got Devin Bush in there now, so I think we can make more plays on the balls. So I would go over. What'd you say?
I think we'll definitely get more picks out of our linebackers. We definitely have more speed brought to the table. So if Sean Davis could ever catch a ball, I think we'd definitely be over there. But he kind of scares me.
Yeah.
But,
Okay, so number 6, Artie Burns will not be on the team at the end of the season.
that's an interesting topic because I really root for Artie Burns.
I know, me too.
Kind of been a flop to this point, being the number 1 draft pick, but I still got to root for the guy.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they brought guys in. There's more competition. That it's almost like he takes plays off for whatever reason,
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's a conditioning thing or a mental thing, but he definitely has the physical attributes. But maybe after being in the league for a few years, maybe some will kick in and he'll perform.
Yeah.
Now they didn't sign him for that 5th-year option.
Yeah, I think this is a tough one for me too, and it does bother me how media always portrays an athlete when they're down and out, and they want to continue to push the narrative that they suck. You know what I mean? And it's I root for him too because I do want to see him succeed because he's a Steeler, and I don't want to. I hate when people just shit on somebody like that.
And I think it is the hardest positions in the NFL to play.
Yeah.
It's a very hard position.
I wanted to do a breakout player segment, which we're not going to do, but I wanted to kind of do something like that. And I was going to have him, number 1 on the list for, hopeful breakouts, I hope he just has a huge season so everyone just, goes back. Everyone's hot takes about him are trash.
Yeah, get his confidence back, get him feeling good.
Yeah, because he played, I thought he played decent until this year. This year he was a dumpster fire, but the years prior I thought he was fine,
I think the locker room, all in all, it was just a mess. It just seemed like Pittsburgh Steelers was just total drama this year. We stayed so drama-free for, pretty much the whole franchise, which has been nice, which I'd like to see, other teams going through that. And I always felt good that, thank God Pittsburgh doesn't go through too much of that. This year has just been, this year and a little bit of last year with the Le'Veon Bell thing, so it's just, I'm kind of glad to clear it. You're hearing the locker room talk, and everybody, kind of has that college football atmosphere where they're just, they can't wait to go. They got that camaraderie. So I feel good about the chemistry of the team, in the locker room.
Yeah. That's another big talking head narrative where it's how are they going to replace Le'Veon Bell? That was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Anyways.
we got in the running back position last year without Le'Veon Bell, so the production was there, and that's all you can ask for is to once a running back like Le'Veon Bell takes a year off, you hope to get production out of that position, and we got really good production, even better.
Yeah, and this Tony Snell Jr. or whatever, he's apparently turning heads in minicamp too. Even though it's talking about how they might do running back by committee, even though I think James Conner should be our starting back. Yeah. But apparently Snell's is looking real good as well. Yeah. My 7th point is which. I like this. Moncrief will be the 2nd best receiver on the team.
Yeah, I could definitely see it. He definitely has the potential. Just
hold on, you're cutting out a little bit.
Ben is, it just depends on the chemistry of Ben and his receivers. What I'm wondering about.
Yeah,
how that's gonna go.
I obviously, as you know, I really like Dante Moncrief, so I'm buying this. I think he's a good receiver. I think he kind of gives Juju's big and fast. He's everything. He's fast, physical. Everything you could want a receiver, Juju is. Moncrief is just big and fast. You know what I mean? He's going to be on the other side, so I really think he's going to get a lot of touches and a lot of looks. And I think him and Ben I think Ben can have chemistry with any receiver that is disciplined. And I think Moncrief is that guy. So.
Yeah, guys getting for Ben, play breaks down. Who's going to have confidence in? Who's going to be his go-to? Besides Juju, they obviously have something left. Hopefully Washington can step up. Switzer.
I like Switzer too. That was going to be my honorable mention. Is if it's not Dante Moncrief, I really hope it's James Washington.
Yeah.
But another guy too that is that's super good in the open field is Deontay Johnson that I've been reading about is if you can get him the ball in space, he's going to make a play. So. Yeah,
I love his enthusiasm. I love all the receivers' enthusiasm. I think they're glad AB's gone and they're coming in there and they have big shoes to fill. I think they're ready to just tear it up.
Yeah.
I just love I love how they talk and what they have to say.
Yeah. This one's a little edgy, but the 7th or the 8th one and the final one is AB will have less than 900 receiving yards with the Raiders.
I think he'll have over 1,000. I think he will.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna. I think Carr will probably have more turnovers too, trying to force AB. Because I think that's protocol to have that guy.
Yeah.
But I have real close to 1,000 yards, probably 10 touchdowns. Probably not as many touchdowns, I'm sure, but because I don't think they really have too much on the other side to take away. You know, yeah. I think he's just going to draw so much attention.
That's what I was trying to think of something last night regarding AB, and I just think. I mean, I don't think Derek Carr is like a great quarterback, but I think AB is a really great receiver, so he's just going to get those looks, and he's going to make plays with them. So yeah. I think he will have over 1,000 yards with them, too. And also, the Raiders don't have any other receivers. So
right.
Are they going to throw it to Seth Roberts?
Yeah, they have that big tight end who Derek likes to go to.
Yeah, that Cook, he's good. Watch for him on fantasy football next year.
The thing is, dude, Derek Carr, I mean, AB's a small receiver, so you're going to have to throw it to him in a tighter window, which AB always, like I said, I didn't like AB because he never caught with his hand much, but the more I looked at the passes, Ben was almost on target all the time, getting it right into his chest.
Yeah.
So, I don't think Derek Carr is near as accurate as Ben, but we'll see how many catches he gets, how many yards, but I think he'll right around 1,000, maybe a little less, between 1,000, I bet.
So on that note of talking about AB leaving, I think it's only right we talk about who we picked up this offseason. I wrote down a couple that I'm like really excited about. Signing Steven Nelson. He was with the Chiefs for 4 years. We signed him for 4 more. He had 68 tackles and 4 interceptions with him. And like I said, our defense had 8 total last year. So I thought that was pretty significant. And he just seems like a real humble dude that's like ready to go to work. I mean, Devin Bush is another one that you can't help but be excited for, a 2-time captain, and the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he's a big improvement from like John Bostic, So it'll be exciting. And Dante Moncrief's another one who, he had 700 yards.
I know. Yeah.
700 yards and 3 touchdowns when Blake Bortles was throwing him the ball.
Yeah.
And that's like our 3rd best receiver last year had like 600, so he's gonna fit right in when he's got. Who knows how many yards he's gonna have with Ben throwing him the ball. But who are you most excited about Pittsburgh signing acquiring this offseason?
I'm just glad that the little bit of weaknesses that we did have, I'm glad that, we seems like we dumped on every position we needed. We were hurting at corner, we drafted a corner, picked up a corner from free agency. Linebacker we're hurting, so middle linebacker. So what do? We go out there, we trade with Denver, move up 10 spots to get Bush. So I'm glad I think we were really aggressive and we really addressed our needs.
Yeah, and with the middle linebacker on that note too, we signed Mark Barron, which I don't know a lot about. We'll see. I just don't know enough about him. I tried to look up highlights, but I don't know. We'll just see with him. He's a plug and play. We'll see. He's better than Bostic. I'm kind of sad we lost LJ Fort. And Vinny's on the downfall, so.
Right, I was liking Fort for sure.
Yeah, and go ahead.
Bush, the 2 Bs at linebacker, man, I'm telling you, speed, it kills. And, I think they're just going to be sideline to sideline. I think they're just going to tear it up.
Yeah.
I'm thinking Vince Williams might be a situational linebacker coming in.
Yeah, which he should be. I feel like the last 3 years we've thought that about Vince Williams. Like, damn, why did he get so much playing time?
Yeah, it's kind of a liability a little bit. How the NFL's changing to kind of like a spread offense, a quick, short passing, kind of spread everything out.
Yeah, you got to get from sideline to sideline real quick. That's what I loved about when I first started watching the Steelers and I saw Shazier. I was like, I love this guy because he's so quick. He can get from point A to point B. It's quicker than anybody in the league. He's there, and he can hit like a truck, and he secures tackles.
Right, and not only that was Shazier, but Shazier was a playmaker. He created a lot of turnovers by ripping balls out. He was pretty good at that, getting the ball back to our offense.
That's what I'm hoping with Devin Bush because Ryan Shazier is my favorite player in the NFL, and if Devin Bush can be even like a sliver of what Shazier would be, I'd be so excited. I'd be so happy.
Yeah,
but
I think we're getting our ducks in a row and getting that set up, and we're putting the best product we can out there on the field, and I think it's going to pay off. Yeah,
you also talked about drafting a cornerback. That cornerback's Justin Lane. He's a 6'2", 192-pound physical corner. Which I like physicality on the defensive side of the football. That's my favorite side of the football, and I just like having physical players.
Yeah.
It's like T.J. Watt, watching him out there, and like even Bud Dupree. I really like our defense. Not so much our secondary, but our front seven is solid.
I'm excited about our secondary, and I'm excited about the safeties with Edmonds.
Yeah, I'm excited this year. It's just in the past, It's been a liability.
Yeah.
But
how our passing defense is ranked. I mean, usually we're kind of ranked up there high, and it seems like such a letdown. So we usually lose a game or on a big play, which a lot of it was big plays that we gave.
That's the thing is you told me we're ranked like 6th in defense, and I kind of looked into it last night. And we were 6th when it comes to in regards of like total yards for the opposing team, but opponents like scoring per game, how many points we let up a game, we were like 20th in the league. You know what I mean? So it's like we didn't give up very many yards, but we let them have successful drives. So
big plays. We give up the big plays.
Yeah, it's annoying. But anyways, with Justin Lane, I want to bring this up too because I think this is really important. I think he's in a very good position because he's a big physical corner, and he gets to learn under Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson. You know what I mean? He gets to like work under them, be like taught by them, and I think that's a huge advantage for him because where else would you have that luxury to have someone like Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson teaching you?
Right.
I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, I think we're definitely solid. I think just all across the board, our defense has solidified for sure.
Yeah.
We're so much better. And, I mean, our record wasn't too bad last year. We lost a couple close ones that we should have won. It could have went either way. We had that tie, playing to our competition again. But, I mean, I think this year with the changes we've made, I think it's definitely, going to add 2 to 3 more wins in our column.
For sure, yeah. I know this. So the whole point of this podcast was to go over the schedule, which we're going to get to, I promise. But
AFC West that we got.
I know.
AFC West.
The power was out last night.
We live on the West Coast, but we hate having Pittsburgh play over there on the West Coast.
Yeah. The power was. We were supposed to do this podcast last night, but I got home at 7. The power was out till 1 in the morning, so I sat out here with like a candle, just taking notes, and I just came up with more and more stuff I wanted to talk about. I just got more and more excited, and then more and more things I just wanted to discuss. So we're gonna get to that in a minute, but I have one more thing I want to talk about real quick. So I was watching a little bit of Nick Wright last night, and then you brought this up too, which was weird. I didn't even bring it up to you. You brought it up to me. So this underdog narrative that people are kind of pushing on the Steelers underachieving. Like we've underachieved the last couple of years, but Nick Wright said some things that I thought were really like cool. Like, no, we don't have enough Super Bowl wins from since 2015, but only the Pats and the Kansas City Chiefs have won more games, and we beat the Chiefs in a playoff game. You know what I mean? So
right.
And only the Pats have played in more postseason games since 2015. Wow. So it's kind of like one of those things where it's like we haven't won a Super Bowl, but we haven't. I wouldn't say we've underachieved because how are you going to look at a team like they're going to win a Super? You know what I mean? It's like obviously that's the main goal, but it's like we've been successful in we've been successful in other aspects of the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, winning a Super Bowl is the primary goal, but it's like shit. We made the postseason. We played in only the Patriots have played more postseason games than us.
Yeah.
And another thing that I thought was interesting was with talent leaving and Ben getting older, like the narrative almost could be used where I know you said you didn't really like that yesterday, but like if you go in the locker room and you're like, shoot, everyone sees us as underdogs, let's just go prove them wrong and use that as fuel. I'm like, you could use that narrative at this point because everyone wants to create that narrative for you. And Chris Carter said, he's like, oh, you can't manufacture the underdog narrative. And it's like, it's not manufactured because the entirety of the media has pushed it on the Steelers. So it's not like the Steelers have manufactured it. It's a reality for the Steelers locker room where people are calling them the underdogs. Even if you don't believe it as a player, it's like, that's what everybody else thinks about you. So you almost could spin that narrative in your benefit and be like, we're going to go into every game. People don't think... It's like the Eagles, you know what I mean? When they won the Super Bowl with that...
Foles.
Yeah, say what? Foles,
Nick
Foles. Yeah, it's like they didn't just manufacture... everyone called them underdogs. No one believed in them. So they put on those little wolf masks and walked out and they're like, we're going to win. We're going to prove you all wrong.
Right.
But then... So what do you think of that narrative?
Well, I just think, Ben was just saying that we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We've always been a successful organization, I feel like Pittsburgh's always been 90% team. You could say New England might be 100 or whatever just because the Super Bowl wins that they get to. But Pittsburgh's always been like 85 to 90%. We're always getting either to the second round, possibly, the AFC championship. We're always just getting there. And we've been solid there for most of the last 2 decades. It's just... We're just having a hard time just getting over that hump.
Yeah.
So, but we're always right there. We're always just a perennial contender constantly.
Yeah, that's
so
it.
to make that every single
crazy.
year is very hard, because now we're working against the draft, and our division's getting stronger because they're getting better draft picks. So, and we just keep
staying in the kind of like just above average in the 20 picks.
Yeah, we just keep persevering. So that's it. Pittsburgh always just has so much perseverance. So I like Ben saying we're the Pittsburgh Steelers. We're confident in ourselves.
Yeah.
Media saying the underdog role, and maybe the receivers are picking that up because they're getting hit real hard, saying what are you going to do without AB? And I think all the receivers are responding to that, because they're using that as leverage. That hey, we're going to go out there and we're going to show everybody that Pittsburgh Steelers has always had receivers coming out their ass. It's just almost like shark teeth.
Yeah.
When they get rid of Wallace, I was like, oh man, but then Antonio Brown steps up. I mean, we've always had receivers step up. Now Juju, because of AB. I mean, so we've always been had a great receiving core.
Yeah. And this Darryl Drake, our wide receiver coach, I watched a couple videos on him last night, and I like that guy. I like him. I could see why a wide receiver would want to come to Pittsburgh to play for him. Like, I know I'm a Steelers fan, so it's hard not to say that about any coach. But honestly, like, just the way he talked about his players and the mutual respect they have for each other, it's not like a coach-player relationship. It just seems like it's like more family-oriented. Like, I'm gonna take care of you. We're gonna make you as good as we can make you. You know what I mean? Like, we're gonna work together. It's not me telling you what to do. It's us bouncing ideas off each other.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought that was cool.
I like that guy.
Yeah, but last point before we get to the schedule. More going on what Nick Wright was talking about. Ben threw for 5,100 yards last year. He was almost completing at 70%, and he had 34 touchdowns. And I think with AP leaving, he doesn't have really that weapon anymore. But I mean, he's still got where is it? He's still got Juju, who had 1,400 yards. Vance McDonald, who had 610 yards. James Conner had 500 receiving yards. Ryan Switzer, 253. I mean, AB had 1,300, but he also had 170 targets. So, you know what I mean? Like, we're going to have 170 more throws around the field. I still think Ben can still, obviously, like we talked about, eclipse like 4,200 yards next year.
Right.
And still be almost just as successful. Even, we just need to make the postseason. Another thing I put on here, which I thought was really important, is the only argument against James Conner that people make is that he's not Le'Veon Bell. That's like the only thing that people say. It's like, oh, it's not Le'Veon Bell. It's like, it's James Conner, and he's just as productive, if not more, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, on that, yeah, Juju has shown he's able to be a number one receiver on the team, but with that, we'll move on to the schedule. You wanna start it off with week 1?
Sure. What we got at the Patriots?
Yeah.
Yeah, I ink this in as a win here. I think we're going to open up at the Patriots. I think we're going to be hungry. You're going to see that, that Super Bowl. I mean, I think they do it on the first game of the regular season. I'm not sure, but they'll probably do their little Super Bowl presentation. So I think it's just going to motivate Pittsburgh to go in there. I think our defense, if I get right, is definitely more mobile, a lot faster. So I think that kind of plays into the offensive scheme of the Patriots. So I think we're going to play them really tough. They lost their left tackle. He went, I think, to the Raiders. So I think we etch a win here. We go to Foxborough and etch it in Gillette.
Yeah, I think I'm taking us as a loss here. Like, it is kind of convincing when you talk about it, because it is kind of like I think our defense is going to look like way different next year. They're going to have no film on us. They're not going to be able to know. The thing is, I just don't think we're going to be able to get it done in the first game. I think there's going to be a lot of momentum heading into there, but I know the Patriots do start slow, but I just don't see us going into Foxborough and beating the Patriots. Like last year when we beat them, that was the first time we beat them since 2013 or whatever. I hope we can continue to see success, but I think we go in there and take our first road loss.
Well, the thing is too, we don't play them every year.
Yeah.
Win since 2013, but we did have a close game the year after, where Jesse James scored that touchdown, but just couldn't secure it quite right. But it was a close game. We could have easily got a W there as well. So we've always played the Patriots pretty strong as of late.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like you were saying, Patriots, if you're gonna beat them early, because it seems like they just get stronger as the year goes on. So they're always a little shaky in the first. In September, I bet you can look at this stat, and they probably have the least amount of wins per month. It's probably in September.
Yeah, I bet. I think I could see it being one of those games where the announcers were like, "Damn, Deontay Johnson has like 6 catches for 120 yards." You know what I mean? Like I could definitely see the announcement. Oh, Devin Bush has 2 picks for his first ever NFL. I could just see something crazy going on like that. Or Steven Nelson's first game as a Steeler, and he's making a big impact. You know, like we have so many like key acquisitions this offseason that I could just see something like that just happening and being like, "Oh shit!" Like these guys are like really affecting the game. You know.
Yeah.
But going down into week 2, we have our first home game against Seattle. The Seahawks will come to town for Pittsburgh's first home game. Russ torched our secondary in 2015. I know you were at that game. But we've made like plenty of changes to address any of that. I think the Steelers are going to get their first home win here. What do you think?
Yeah, I think they're going to win as well. And just like Pittsburgh's so bad going to the West Coast, I think Seahawks kind of has the same nostalgia with them. They're never really too good when they travel to the East Coast.
Yeah.
I still think the Seahawks are a good team, but yeah, I think we pick up a win here against Seattle.
Yeah, I definitely think the Seahawks are a good team. I just think Pittsburgh's just gonna, overcome anything they throw at them. I just think Pittsburgh is the better team here. You know? So week 3 we go to the 49ers.
Yep.
The 49ers will have Jimmy G back off injury and an improved pass rush. But I still think the Steelers offense will overpower the 49ers and take their first road game, at that point being 2-1. I just don't see what the 49ers have to outmatch Pittsburgh. I really don't. Like, Jimmy Garoppolo's coming off an injury. I don't know where they're going to be at that point. George Kittle had a great season last year. I think he's a deadly weapon for them. But I don't see them beating us. What do you think?
I agree we're going to be 2-1 at this point. But this is going to be that one pick where Pittsburgh just goes to the West Coast and just doesn't quite get it done. I don't know what the deal is, but there's always one a year. This is the one that I'm picking. I sure hope they win the game and kind of break the mold, but I'm going to go to San Francisco, and 49ers are going to find a way to pull it out. I mean, I hate to say it, it kills me, but West Coast, this is going to be the game that kind of nabs us like the Raider game last year.
So you're taking this an L for us for you?
Yeah, this will be our first. I have this as our first loss.
Damn. So week 4, I don't think we need to spend too much time on this. Respectably to the Bengals, I just think they're rebuilding, and we own the Bengals the last 7 years.
I agree. I think we got.
It's our first divisional matchup at home. We're going to take care of business. We'll be 3-1. All due respect to the Bengals, see you later, Teddy. They're just not good.
Right.
Do you have anything you want to say about that, or you just want to kind of go over it?
We'll just do the next.
Cool. All right, so week 5, home against Baltimore. Baltimore will follow up a home game against the Browns with an away game in Heinz Field. I think Pittsburgh has the talent, the motivation, and now the discipline to continue success and prove they're competitive in the AFC North, the second divisional game, playing Baltimore at home. Baltimore is just really, a lot of these games are a lot of these teams are just hard for me to gauge. Like Baltimore, like I said when we first started this podcast, they always have just some player that comes out and is just a stud. Like that Javorius Allen last year, all of a sudden it's just running all over the place, and it's like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
I think Pittsburgh will take the win. I have a lot of faith in Pittsburgh this year. But what do you think?
Yeah, I think Pittsburgh gets the win here too. I mean, the Ravens, I think, are down a little bit. Jackson's been exposed. They have tape on him. I mean, they know what he's going to do. So, and I think, like I said, our defense is going to be quicker. So I think definitely we'll be able to wrap him up. And I think we'll get the win here at home as well.
So what, you got us 4-1 at this point?
Yep, 4-1.
Okay, yeah, I'm 4-1 as well. Week 6 at the Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers.
Yeah, I definitely think this is a winnable game for us. And we're traveling to the West Coast, and the Chargers are looking pretty good. We always kind of struggle with them. We let them come back on us last year, but
yeah, I
think we get nipped here at the Chargers. So I think this will be our second loss.
So we're 4-2 at this point for you. For me, we should have beat them last year. They came back from 33 down to beat us in the second half. The Chargers are going to beat us at home. And this game is no question to me. After we beat the Ravens here and we're 4-1, I'm instantly gonna be thinking to myself, all right, 4-2, because we do struggle on the West Coast, like you said. You're talking about us dropping the 49er game, which I think could happen. But I think this is a game where they're just a talent. They got a lot of talent, and we struggle on the West Coast, like you said. And we're going to we'll be on the. I mean, it's just everything is against the Steelers at this point.
It is.
So I just think this is where we go 4-2. Chargers the Chargers. I think are one of those teams that's like a sleeper team next year, where it's like nobody really thinks about the Chargers, but I do think that they're a serious contender.
Yeah.
By week 7, so let's skip right over that. So week 8, we're home against the Dolphins on Monday Night Football. What do you think?
Yeah, I think this is a win at home Monday night. We're a great Monday night team, so I got to win here.
Yeah, following a bye week, Pittsburgh should be able to smack this team. They're the doormat of the AFC East, or I mean, maybe not so much the doormat, but I mean they're definitely below average team.
Yeah.
Unless Ryan Fitzpatrick comes out and leads them to the Super Bowl, I mean they're not doing shit. So at that point, I have us at 5-2, which I think is very realistic at this point. Moving on from that, we have week 9. We're home against the Colts.
Yep.
What do you think about the Colts? I think you and I have different opinions about this team.
Yeah, I think they've added a lot to their team. I think they really solidified their team. How they're going to play together, we'll find out. But I think the Colts come into Pittsburgh and just nip us. So I think coming off that Dolphin win, I think Colts come into town, and I think we lose that game.
So you 5-3 at that point then for you?
Yep.
Cool. Yeah, I think we'll have the Colts come to town, and I remember a couple years ago the Colts came to town on Monday Night Football, and we beat them 54-16, some crazy ass score. We ran the board up on them.
We did.
Excuse me, at Heinz Field. But that was a couple years. That was a couple years ago. It's different now.
Yeah.
But I think the Colts showed last year that they are also a serious contender in the AFC. I think there's a lot of really good teams in the AFC this year.
Yeah.
I mean, Luck threw for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns last time he played Heinz Field. And although Pittsburgh has really improved the secondary, I still think the Colts are going to take this game. We'll be 5-3 at this point.
You got the loss as well.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be able to beat the Colts. This is one of those teams I think is just really tough and disciplined all around. So after that, we got Week 10 home against the Rams. What do you think about the Rams coming into Pittsburgh?
I think Rams come in, and I think since we're coming off that loss on the Colts, I think we avenged that loss, and I think we smacked the Rams pretty hard. So I think I get a win here, the Rams.
Yeah, I know the Rams were in the Super Bowl last year, but I think this weird injury with Gurley, the Dominican Sue left. I don't know. And Jared Goff is not consistent. You know, the beginning of the season, people were talking about, is Jared Goff potential MVP? At the end of the season, nobody was talking about that.
Right.
You know? So I don't know if he can consistently play at a high level like that. So I'm just going to take the veteran Big Ben on this one. I got us beating the Rams. Pittsburgh's going to host the NFC champions, including Aaron Donald, Todd Gurley, Goff, etc. I think Pittsburgh will come off the Colts game motivated and locked in to make a run for the AFC North. You know, we're coming into Week 10.
Yep.
So the Rams will be fresh off a bye. But with the Gurley injury, I don't know how to gauge the Rams. I think Pittsburgh, even if Gurley's healthy, I think the Steelers are going to take this because I think this year they're going to be a little more smart. They're going to be a little more disciplined. They understand what's at stake, and I think we'll be 6-3 at following Week 10.
I depth at our defensive line. Our defensive line has a lot of depth, so I mean, I think we're going to be able to do. I think we're going to do a lot better against the run this year. Yeah,
I think so too. I think. And that's one of the most frustrating things, those big plays, big run plays against us, where it's 3rd and 8 and they just fucking break off for 20 yards. It's like, cool. Yeah. So week 11, we are in Cleveland. What are your thoughts on traveling to Cleveland?
What I don't like, I think that Rams game is a Sunday night game.
Mm-hmm.
And this at the Browns is a Thursday night game. So we got a very short week.
On 2 tough teams.
So.
We'll go to one of those games. We'll go to the Rams game.
I think the Browns are going to be up for us on this one, so I put a loss on this one. You know, it's going to be a close game, but I think the Browns get us on this one.
I think it's worth noting, too, that we didn't talk about the scheduling at all before we did this. We kind of we talked about doing it, but we didn't talk about what we had. I mean, because at this point, we're pretty much almost aligned besides the 49ers. I got us taking a loss here, too.
Okay.
I mean, on a short week, we travel to Cleveland for our Thursday night game. This Browns team is a favorite amongst some NFL analysis to win the AFC North, and on paper they do look really good. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna try to be biased, but they look like an awesome team. You know, they got great talent over there, but we'll see how it all meshes together. I mean, it could be great, it could be a mess. But I have us losing this game. I think we'll be 6-4 coming off of this.
thing I do like about, or don't like, or I guess I like about the Browns of a weakness of them is their offensive line. I think is one of their weaknesses. So I think that's gonna make them struggle a bit.
Mm.
So I mean, they're gonna figure out.
And our front seven's one of our strengths.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So I think for sure that's gonna slow the Rams down a bit. Or, I mean the.
Week 12, we go to Cincinnati, and I feel like they're going to beat us one of these games because I'm talking so shitty of them, but I don't think they're going to beat us this game either. You know what I mean? Like, I think I'm going to look back on this video and be like, damn, the Bengals beat us twice that year, you know? But I think we come out of this, we're 7-4.
Same here. I think we beat the Bengals.
I mean...
The Browns at home.
Yeah, one thing I want to say about the Bengals real quick, too, is they don't really have any... They don't have a lot. What they do have, though, is like Andy Dalton, who's decent, and A.J. Green is pretty solid. But they're both injured every season. So at the week 12, I just don't expect them to even be playing. You know,
Andy Dalton just never threatens me too much. I mean, I'm just not scared of the guy. I mean, he'll make some plays here and there, but then there's spots where he just crumbles.
Yeah.
So consistent. So I mean, I've never been too afraid of Andy Dalton. I mean, he just doesn't threaten me. I mean, definitely has a chance to beat us, you know, if we sleep on him or whatever. But
yeah.
You know, Andy Dalton's just been kind of an average quarterback to me.
Yeah, I agree with you. So week 13, we're home against Cleveland. I think this is the biggest game of the year. I have this written down as like, this is the game you circle. If you're a Steelers player, you're like, this is the game we have to take. Because I feel like this will be the deciding factor for the AFC North. I mean, we're going week 13, heading into the postseason. I think this is a game you have to win if you want to win the AFC North. And I also do want to say I think we split with Cleveland this year. You know, I think we lose at their field, they lose at ours. I think we win this game. I think we're 8-4. You know, coming down the stretch. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we definitely beat the Browns at home. So I think we'll get X amount of sacks. We've seen them once. You know, we're playing them twice in a 3-week span.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I definitely think we get the Browns this time.
No,
we should play who's boss going down the stretch of the North.
When I was going through the schedule, I was thinking, what game do I hope we get tickets for or whatever with that lady? And I was like, this Browns game would be insane. You know, this is just, I just really feel like this will be the do or die game.
Oh yeah, look at the schedule, that Browns game. I mean, and where it's positioned at, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And then I was really relieved to see the last 3 games on our schedule, our last 4. I mean, we're at the Cardinals. I mean, after a 5-week stretch of tough opponents, excluding the Bengals. Shitting on them again, I guess. Pittsburgh goes to Arizona to win another road game. Kyler Murray is going to be a stud, but I just think Pittsburgh is in a position in this season to make a run in the postseason where the Cardinals are still a year or 2 away.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I think they're even further than that.
Yeah,
you know? That division is going to be tough for them anyway to even break out of there. But yeah, I think we get the Cardinals.
Week 15, what do you think about visiting Jordan Poyer?
Yeah, I think we get the win here against the Bills. The Bills just aren't ready yet, so I think we get a win here at home.
Yeah, I mean, it's the final regular season home game for us. Hopefully there's more home games, but it's the final regular season home game.
Right.
The Bills are another team that when I said the Dolphins were the doormat of the AFC East, I had to pause and think about it and to say maybe they're not at the bottom because this is the doormat of the AFC East. Buffalo Bills, we're going to go in there. We're going to smack them. The Bills don't stand. The Bills, that's a win.
Yeah. You know what's funny about the doormat of the AFC East, though, is that I think all 3 of those teams pretty much have been, besides the Patriots. I mean, the Patriots has mopped up that whole division every year.
I know. The Patriots make that division a joke. Which I think goes to show how disciplined and, I mean, mentally strong that team is. You know? I don't want to be one of those people that just says, you know, F the Patriots or whatever, because they are like a talented team and they know how to get everything out of their players. Like, because some people want to say like, oh, they play in a shitty division. I don't believe that. I think winning their division 10 years in a row, that just shows how good they are compared to every other team in that division. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, that was a little Patriots bit. After that, we go to New York.
Yeah, this will be an interesting game, huh?
I know, this will be a fun one. What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I think we get a win here. I think we shut Bell down.
Yeah.
All this around and shit's not going to do nothing. We're just gonna scrape them up.
Yeah, I mean, like you said earlier against the Niners, Pittsburgh is known as a team for dropping should-have-won games, every year. But I really don't think this is the game. I would say we lose against the 49ers before we lose against the Jets.
Yeah, I don't think that we're going to lose against the Jets.
Yeah.
So,
even with the acquisition of a talent like Le'Veon Bell, I mean, who's his supporting cast? Robbie Anderson is our number one receiver. Quincy Enunwa is the other receiver. Like, he doesn't have AB on one side no more. He doesn't have Juju on the other. Like, he doesn't have Big Ben throwing him the ball, which I do think Sam Darnold will be good, but he's not Big Ben good at this point in time. Excuse me. So I just don't think that they're good enough to expose our defense. What's up?
Yeah, and he could go through a little sophomore slump as well. All these second-year quarterbacks, who knows how they're going to be.
Yeah, that's kind of that's kind of a thought with Baker too.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
yeah, the Ravens, I think, will be a big one too the next week.
Yeah, I want to say one more thing about this. Actually, I just thought of it with the Jets. All the ESPN, or not all of them, but a couple ESPN analysis are like, yeah, Le'Veon Bell's going to be ready to go. He's going to take it to the Steelers, and the Jets are going to win that game. And it's like, dude, it's like a 22-man sport. You know what I mean? There's like defense and an offense. It's not just Le'Veon Bell. Le'Veon Bell's good, but I just don't. I could see him having 180 rush yards. Like, that's fine, but I still don't think they're good enough to beat us. You know what I mean? Our offense will still have, 34 points up on him when he scores 2 touchdowns and 180 yards, and that'll be the score. Like 34-14, cool. He had a lot of yards, but they didn't win the game. You know what I mean?
Like I said, the thing I think what Pittsburgh's defense is preparing for, say you have Barron and Bush at linebacker. Obviously we have Watt and Dupree. I mean, we have so much speed out there now. I mean, if you put those 2 inside linebackers of Barron and Bush in there, I mean, it's just made to take and recover a back coming on the field. You look at a lot of Bush's tapes, and I mean, he's just his breaking speed on those receivers is just insane.
We needed this. We needed
several tackles for loss.
When we played Baltimore, I remember that Allen just running the power, and if not, it was Lamar Jackson keeping it and scrambling, and it was just like, damn, they are torching us. You know what I mean? We're just not quick enough to get lateral quickness isn't there.
Right.
So we're like, I feel really good about getting Devin Bush and Mark Barron. I feel like we'll be in much better hands this season to handle that type of stuff.
A lot of our guys have practiced against Le'Veon Bell, so they know his little start, stutter moves, stop. And I don't know if a year off is going to be better for his running style or not. I think he'll be well rested and his body's ready, but he's a year older too at the same time.
Well, let's see what that offensive line has in store for him too. Let's see if they want to hold those blocks for longer than 3 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, you got to sit there and you got to block your ass off all game because your running back's got to make a decision, which is fine. Bell can do that, but is that offensive line good enough to hold us, our defensive line, back? You know what I mean?
Right.
So this is our final game. Final game of the season, week 17 at Baltimore. Final game of the season. We're traveling to Baltimore. This game will be a dogfight, which it always is with Baltimore. There's some of my best memories of watching Steeler football is against Baltimore. But I really do need to see more of Lamar. His postseason appearance against the Chargers was like terrible. They only put up like 3 points on them. Or they just looked like garbage when they were coming into that. People thought Baltimore is the dark horse team. They could actually like knock some teams off, and they were just trash. They really looked awful.
Right.
He has plenty of potential as a starting quarterback. Very close, but Pittsburgh has historically played well against the Ravens later in the season. So I have Pittsburgh taking this game. I have us finishing at 12-4, winning the North. We definitely, like you said, we lost against the Raiders last year. We almost lost against Jacksonville. This could easily be, 9-5 or whatever. Like or 9-7, excuse me. If we lose again, we could easily lose against the Niners. We could lose against a team like Buffalo. We could drop one against Cincinnati. Pittsburgh just drops these must-win games, but I think if we play right, we play disciplined, we could be 12-4.
Yeah.
But what do you think about this game, Week 17?
I have a split with the Ravens.
Mm-hmm.
How important this game's going to be. It seems like it could be real important, or it might not be, depending on how these division teams play, and they have to fight each other too. So I don't know how the Browns are going to be. I really don't know how the Ravens are going to be. I think they're obviously going to be a little on the upside, but that doesn't mean that it's going to count as wins.
Yeah.
I have us losing against the Ravens at Baltimore.
Yeah.
I have us going 11-5, but I think it can go either way. I think if it's a huge important game, then I think definitely we'll pull it off and go 12-4. But I think it's possible that it might not even be that meaningful of a game. I hate to say that, but I'm just thinking it's not going to be that meaningful. I don't think Baltimore or Cleveland's going to have a good enough record to really be pushing us for the North. But yeah, we might be playing for the number 1 seed as well. I mean,
Yeah.
I got this year, man. I love the upbeat of our team this year.
No, the AFC is competitive. I mean, the AFC is competitive every year, but it just seems like every year it's like, gosh.
I can see us, going undefeated, to be honest.
Say what?
I got to throw some losses in there and be realistic.
Yeah. That's, with Kansas City, like, in the past, when we played Kansas City, I've always been like, shit, we got to play, Kelsey, Mahomes, Kareem Hunt, like, Hill. I was like, they're offensive powerhouses, which is kind of how I feel about the Browns. We've handled the Chiefs. We've had the Chiefs' number.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The only reason we haven't made it any further is because the Patriots have had ours, in the postseason.
Not only that, but I mean, look at all the teams that we have lost to in the playoffs. I mean, it's been just an array of teams. We've lost to the Ravens. We've lost to the Broncos.
Mm-hmm.
We won the AFC Championship game. I think it was 3 or 4 years ago to the Patriots. And that's when we had the 3 Bs. That was one of the games where we had them all. And I think Bell ended up getting hurt later in the game, but we still asses handed to us.
That's one of those things too that people like the whole underachieving thing we talked about. When we were missing Bell when we had AB, we were missing AB when we had Bell.
Right.
It's like people think we underachieved, but we had. Only the Patriots had more wins, et cetera, whatever the statistics were. It's like we had so many injuries, which are part of the game, but those were our core players.
Yeah. So. And also, it seems like a lot of these teams with these diva receivers don't make it to the Super Bowl a lot of time. It doesn't. You don't need a diva receiver to make it into the big game.
Yeah.
So.
Anyways, I think. It's 11:20. I think we should start trying to do these like once a week, as we get closer to the season. We could do 8 of these before the season starts or whatever. Previewing different things.
Yes, man.
Yeah. But anyways, happy Father's Day. I appreciate you coming on, Dad.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks, man. I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks for watching, everybody. If you have anything you want to talk about on this podcast, send me a message. We can talk about anything. Me and my dad obviously talk about the Steelers. If you're a Cardinals fan, we can talk about the Cardinals. I'll talk about whoever. Basketball fan or whatever you may want to talk about. But thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys. Oh.